Thank you very much for having me here, first of all. A little bit of background, I'll keep it brief. I'm still a little bit jet lagged. My family and I just arrived back from 10 days in Thailand less than 40 hours ago, and I'm still kind of getting myself back into the swing of things. But I committed to this many weeks ago, and I told Ashley I would be here regardless of how exhausted and tired I was. So here I am. When Ashley and I talked about what she would like me to come in and talk about tonight, I wrote it down word for word, and I'm going to read it to you just so that everybody knows kind of the setup for what she asked me to come and talk about tonight. What's important to you, and how are you willing to make it happen? What's important to you, and how are you willing to make it happen? So as I speak tonight, have that question in the back of your mind. What's important to you, and how are you willing to make it happen? What's important to you for your family? What's important to you for your work? What's important to you for your passions, your purpose, your health? What's important to you for your relationships with your kids, with your spouse, with your friends, okay? What's important to you, and what are you willing to do to make those things happen? I was expecting to have some high schoolers in here tonight, perhaps, so a lot of the things that I'm going to say perhaps don't even relate to the crowd that's in the room right now. We're all way past high school, and that's okay, but I'll still mention them because for those of us that have children, I'm the father of a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, and 12-year-old. I have 3 daughters, and man, am I going through it, okay, at home. Woo! Anyhow, it's a deep, complex question that Ashley posed. So the first ask is just to be open to possibilities. Why? Because perspective creates possibilities. And if you don't have possibilities in your life, you don't have any hope. You don't have anywhere to go. So if you're locked into a certain perspective and looking at your whole life a certain way, it's going to limit the possibilities that you have for yourself, right? Perspective creates possibilities. So what I'm going to do first is just propose that each of us as individuals has a certain nature, right? You think of yourself a certain way, and other people that know you think of you a certain way, and sometimes those things don't match up. The way that we see ourselves is different from the way that our friends, family, colleagues see us oftentimes. And we don't know how they see us unless we connect with them, really connect with them, and understand what it is that they're going through, understand what it is that they're struggling with. Who in this room, just by a show of hands, who's fighting a battle somewhere in their life right now that nobody knows anything about? Just about everybody, okay? Some of them are in here, some of them are in here, some of them are out in the world. Some of them are at home, you know? Everybody is. And what I want to propose, because we have that as a common bond as humans, we all struggle. It's part of the human condition. But as human beings, we all have the same basic needs. And that's a pretty bold statement. Every single one in this room has the same basic needs as a human being. What are they? Certainty. Why? Because it helps us feel safe, secure. Uncertainty, because it helps us feel alive. A little bit of excitement in our life, right? Significance. We need to feel important to somebody else. Love and connection to other people. We all want that. Growth. We want to be challenged. We want to change. We want to grow personally, professionally, spiritually. And then lastly, contribution. Why are we here? Why is my life important? What am I doing? How am I moving the needle for other people on this planet? And of those things, in my opinion, significance and love and connection to others are the things that keep us healthy. They're the things that keep us going. If I don't feel that my work, for example, is significant, how can I work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, year over year over year over year? I can't. I'm going to burn out. But if I'm really passionate about what it is that I'm doing, I got gas all day. And if I don't have love and connection to other people, if I'm lonely, if I'm isolated, guess what? I'm dying sooner, I'm unhealthy, I got high blood pressure, and I'm miserable if I don't have good, solid, quality relationships in my life. Can we all agree that those things are universal needs for us as human beings? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So back to Ashley's original question. What's important to you, and how are you willing to make it happen? Any volunteers to talk about anything, any aspect of their life, what's important to them and what they're willing to do to make that thing happen that's important to them? Can be your commitment to your health, can be your commitment to your family, relationship to your spouse, your kids, anybody. Please, your name.
Gary.
Gary, thanks. Thanks, Gary.
Health.
Perfect.
So, mainly cardiovascular.
Nice.
And then, the muscular component too.
Beautiful.
So I'm willing to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, you look like you're lean and mean, man. It's working.
So I've been riding for Salinas mountain bike, and then during the off season, just continue that. And then, I love competition too. So
Perfect.
I race too.
Competition's healthy.
It is.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else? That was a great example. Please. Your name?
My family.
Anna.
Anna.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
I work a lot. I give back a lot. I have a lot going on, and I'm not setting my schedule and keeping to my schedule like I should be. I'm supposed to have at least one day off a week, and I failed the first week. The first day I was supposed to be off, somebody called, you want to come and look at my house, and then I went to go show a house, and I thought, I already failed. So I need to put my family first and stick to my schedule.
Perfect. May I offer you some feedback?
Yes.
You know how you do that?
Don't.
No. So most people have this schedule and they prioritize their schedule, right? Mm-hmm. Only put your priorities on your schedule. Nothing else gets on your schedule except your priorities. Don't prioritize your schedule. Only put your own priorities on your schedule.
Got it.
Nobody else's priorities belong on your schedule.
Right.
No one's. They don't get on your schedule, period.
Okay.
Drop them.
That was right on. That's what I'm going through too. I say yes to everything,
Yeah.
and it wears me out. I am really burnt out, and so I have to say no, and it's kind of hard for me to say no.
Why?
I don't know. I guess I'm always a yes person.
Isn't your time valuable to you?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Then protect it.
Yeah.
It's the most valuable resource you have.
So that's what I'm gonna. I keep saying I'm not gonna say yes to everything. I keep saying that, but then I never do.
Time is not a renewable resource. Once it's gone, you never get it back. We can make more money, we can't make more time.
That's true. That's good. I have to keep reminding myself.
We gonna go to
Good.
the Giants game?
Yes.
Woo!
That's my therapy. I'm not doing that for others. I'm doing that for
I'd answer that question yes too. Okay, so the answers to these questions are all different because we all have different priorities, and life, as you know, is seasonal. We go through seasons in life, and depending on the season of our life, our priorities are different, okay? But the one thing that I'll propose tonight for all of us is that the most powerful thing to do is to control your thoughts and control your mind. Because if you can do that, if you can have clarity about what it is you want for your life, you can create the power that's required for you to have that, whatever it is. But if you can't get clear about what you want, how are you ever going to prioritize your schedule? You're not going to do that. You're only going to schedule your priorities. But if you don't know what those are, and you're not clear on it, and you're not real, and you're not raw, and you're not honest with yourself, how are you ever going to get there? You can't. So clarity is power. And without it, we end up living our lives, every part of our lives, by default. Okay? Ashley, tonight, oh, John, come on, get a plate of food. Come on, eat. No, I'm good, Ashley. And Brian over here, oh, come on, John, eat. Even my dad. Make a plate of food, you moron, come on, food's good. No. Why? Because I have certain commitments to what I put in my body. And I'm just not going to violate those to myself because I'm clear about what I want, and I'm clear about what I want out of my body. And I'm clear about certain things that I put in it and certain things that I don't put in it. So it's not that the food doesn't look delicious and smell delicious and look wonderful. It's just that I'm almost at the point today where I'm not allowed any more calories, protein, carbs, and fats. And I don't ingest past that point, period. So those are just my priorities. It's just an example for me. So how do we design our lives? Instead of living by default, and you guys think about this for yourselves. Are you in the body that you want to be in? Do you have the marriage that you want to have? Do you have the relationships with your kids that you want to have? Do you have the career that you want to have? Is everything in your life because you designed it that way? Or are you just kind of reacting? Are you going through the motions? Is your job on fire for you? Or are you like, oh shit, man, another day at the office. Oh God. And if so, does that resonate? So if that resonates, be honest, right? Why? How? And the question that I jotted down, I scribbled a bunch of notes on scrap paper last night about 11 o'clock, and I was just back there cleaning them up right now. There's one question that we can all ask ourselves, and I ask myself this probably every day in some aspect. Can anybody guess what that question is? How to develop clarity for every single part of your life. And it's just a simple question you ask yourself. And you have to be real, and you have to be very raw, and you have to be honest about the answer. Anybody? Take a stab at the question. What is it?
Are you happy?
Well, are you happy? That's a good place to start, but I could talk for 4 hours about happiness, so we won't go there. What do you want?
Am I energized?
Am I energized? Perfect. You're paying attention to your energy. That's great. Very simply, what do I want? What do I want for my bank account? What do I want to look like when I'm staring at my body naked in the mirror? What do I want when I get in bed with my spouse at night? What do I want when my kids come home or when I come home to my kids? What do I want for my career? How do I want my energy levels to behave throughout the day? And does work give me energy, or does work suck the life out of me? And if so, what the hell are you doing? Like, how are you spending your time? You know, time waits for nobody. It's gone, and once it's gone, you never get it back. So why aren't we protecting our time? Why aren't we prioritizing ourselves and our lives by design? Don't put other people's priorities on your schedule. Put your priorities on your schedule and watch how your life changes. It's remarkable. You know, I've got 8 separate physical locations in our company, and I've got 127 employees. How in God's name do I keep track of that? I don't. I have my priorities, and everybody else has their priorities, and I hold them to account. And that's how it works. I don't try to go micromanage. I'd go nuts. I'd go absolutely bonkers. I couldn't do it. It would run me into the ground. I only have my priorities, and if I take care of my priorities, everything else is okay. So, what do you want? Be specific. How do I do this? How do I create clarity? How do I create goals? How do I move the needle? I have a little, just a little Punnett square box that I draw, just a little cross here, 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And there's the body box, the being box, the balance box, and the business box. Body, fitness, nutrition. Move my body every day, eat good, clean food. Simple. 2 points for that box. Did I move and sweat today? Did I eat well today? Okay? Being, that's my mental health, my focus, my spirituality. If you're religious, it might be a religion for you. For me, that's reading every morning, journaling, and meditating. Every day, no matter what, I take 20 minutes and I shut it all down. I set my alarm. I might sit in my car. I might lay down on my office floor. I might go to the park and sit in the shade, whatever. But if I'm a 50-year-old man, and if I don't have 20 minutes a day just to myself, my life sucks, right? If I can't shut everything down for 20 minutes and just be alone and do that to convince myself that I have some time, you know, if for no other reason than to trigger your mind, like, I've got time. I've got some time for me to do nothing because I want to do nothing right now. I want to shut it all down. I don't want to have to worry right now about all the things that I have to worry about, all of my priorities, right? I just want to shut them off. If I can't do that as a middle-aged man, you know, I think I'm off target somewhere, okay? We all worry a lot, right? Who worries a lot? Shut it down once a day. Yeah, you too, Mark. So the balance box, that's my relationships. I have 3 daughters, like I mentioned. I've been married 18 years. I don't always see my girls throughout the day, but I text them, I'll call them, I'll leave a sweet message. You know, I still make their lunches early in the morning, and I'll write little notes on their napkins for them, you know, and I at their ages, that's a little bit silly, but, you know, when I'm dead and gone, that's something that they're going to remember, you know, and they'll talk about with each other. Do you remember the little notes Dad used to write in the red pen on our napkins in our lunchbox, you know, that kind of stuff. And then business, I study something in my business, and I teach it to somebody else who works in the business every day. It's very simple. You know, today, as an example, it was, we just changed to a new EHR system, and we're going through hell right now. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So we're all learning this new software, and it's just a complete shit show at the moment, and everybody's scrambling around trying to, you know, chase their tail around in a circle. But I took a certain aspect of that, and I taught it to somebody else in the company, and now I don't have to worry about that aspect anymore. You know, he can handle that now. So it keeps every part of my life moving along, because who has heard about this work-life balance stuff? Who's heard about that? Work-life balance, right? Okay. I'm going to just say, Ashley said there were going to be some beeps in this speech. I'm just going to say it's a myth, it's garbage, it's crap, it's bullshit. Here's why. Anybody know what the number reads on a scale that's perfectly balanced? What does the number read? Yes, who said that? Do you want to be a 0?
Nope.
Okay. So if we're living our lives, the scale should be going like that constantly. Why? Because this month I'm a little heavy on work, and this month I'm working on my body, and this month I'm taking my family on vacation, and this month, I'm a little bit heavy volunteering in the community, and I'm constantly doing this dance, right, between all of these aspects of my life. But I'm never neglecting any of the aspects. I'm always working on some of them all the time. That way, you keep your scale close to 0, but never balanced at 0. Because if it balances at 0, there's no activity going on in your life. You're not moving forward at all. You're just stagnating. You're not growing anymore. But if I pour everything into my wife and everything into my girls, and I'm home all the time, and I never leave the house, is my business going to survive? And if I'm always at home, always at work, and I don't get home until 10 o'clock, and everybody's in bed, and I miss dinner every night, I'm going to come home to an empty house and divorce papers sitting on the kitchen table at some point, right? And if I neglect what I put in my mouth, and I don't go to the gym every morning at 4:45, I'm not going to live in the body that I want to live in, and I'm not going to be able to do with my body what I want to do with my body. Every aspect of our life needs this kind of attention all the time, but it's never going to be perfect, and that's the idea. The work-life balance thing, it's a myth. It's a myth. You got to be working at it constantly, all the time, and pouring into each of those parts of your life. And everybody's going to have different categories. Mine, because of what I do as a physical therapist, and because of what I've seen right in my face for 25 years, I don't care how wealthy you are. I don't care if you've traveled the world, and I don't care if you've had an amazing marriage and you have beautiful kids. If you got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, you can never buy your health back once you lose it. So that is my highest priority, because if I'm not there, I can't pour into other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. You just can't do it. I got to show up in an exam room with a patient and be uplifting and inspiring and be an example of where they want to go with their lives and with their mobility and with their strength. And I want to be a good example for my girls, and I want to have the energy to bring to everything that I do every day. So that, for me, is my highest priority. If you don't care about your health, that's your business. That's okay. Mental health, well-being, for me, it's important. Balance for my relationships is important. And taking care of my business, very important. You guys might have different ones, and that's okay. But create them for yourselves. Get clear about what those categories are for your lives. Okay? And if you have children and if you have spouses, maybe help them get clear too. And maybe you can get on the same page. And you'd be surprised at how amazingly put together your life becomes. And the reason I talk about these things, what creates our feelings? What's that? Our thoughts. Yeah. Our focus. I'm gonna get a little bit more specific. What we focus on grows, right? And if, oh my God, that meeting next week, and oh God, Ashley asked me to come and talk to the Rotary Club, and oh my God, I'm not gonna have slept, and I'm gonna be jet lagged, and oh, I didn't do any preparation. And like, if I did that, I would totally shit can myself, and I wouldn't be able to be here tonight. I don't do that. I actively try to focus on what I want to see grow. So I'm going to ask some questions. These are rhetorical, but they're for you to think about. We can learn a lot about ourselves when we study where our focus goes. So think about yourselves when I ask these questions. Do you focus on what you have or what's missing? Do you focus on what you have, or do you focus on what's missing in your life? Do you focus on what you can control or what you can't? Do you focus on what you can control or on what you can't? And then, do you focus on the past, the present, or the future? Where are your thoughts? Where's your focus most of the time? Is it on, oh my God, the love of my life, I totally screwed that up, I wonder what she's doing now? That's just a road to misery. That was 20 years ago. That's dead and gone, okay? Or do you focus on the only thing we've got, which in my opinion is right now, today? I could drop over and die after the next sentence comes out of my mouth, quite literally, you know. Anybody know anybody who's suddenly passed? You know, we all do, right? And then the future, you can plan for it, you can try to create it, you can think about it a lot, and you can push in a particular direction, but can you guarantee any future that you want to have for yourself? Guarantee it 100%? Of course not. So the best we can do is right now, this moment, the time that we have right now. Enjoy this moment, enjoy the people that you're with, enjoy the air that you're breathing, enjoy the fact that you can walk, enjoy the fact that you can chew and swallow your own food, enjoy the fact that you can hear my voice, enjoy the fact that you can see the people in this room. The simple things. Find appreciation and enjoyment in everything, even in the shitty parts of your life. Because you know what those are? Those are gifts. They're teaching you how to be resilient. They're teaching you how to be strong. They're teaching you how to develop grit. They're teaching you how to absolutely push through situations that nobody wants to push through. You don't have a choice. They're here for us. They're not happening to us. They're gifts. You know, they're showing us who we really are and what we're really made out of. So why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult to live a life by design, and why do most people just kind of live a life by default? And oh, I can't do anything about it. And oh, this is happening to me. Oh, he's doing this to me. She's doing this to me. Oh, you know, my boss is an asshole. You know, whatever it might be, right? You guys have a conversation going on over there. You know, why? What I came up with, and I alluded to it with my dad and Brian earlier, most people are scared. They have fear, you know. They're just afraid. They're afraid of what might happen. They're afraid of what might not happen. They're afraid of what people might think. They're afraid of failing. They're even afraid of succeeding beyond their wildest dreams. What are people going to think of me when I'm a multimillionaire? Oh my God. You know, who gives a shit? Who cares? So, fear, acronyms. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real, right? Forget everything and run. Or, the one I like the most, face everything and rise. Who's had crappy things come into their life? Like, if you don't raise your hand, you're a liar. Come on. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. The way that you look at it. That's wonderful. So the thing that I like to talk about here is this. Our nervous system, and John, you can speak to this as well. Our nervous system doesn't really discriminate. We've got our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight nervous system, and we've got our parasympathetic nervous system, the one that's working to help all of you digest your food right now. Oh, it's a great meal. I just want to go to sleep now. It's been a long day, right? Well, most people out there who are nervous, stressed, underslept, financially strapped, on shaky ground with their spouse, their kids, whatever, they're sympathetically mediated all the time. Okay, and here's what that means. Anna, if you scratched a lotto ticket right now, and right now, this second in this room, you realize that you just won $500 million, what would happen to you?
I'm not saying anything.
Smart woman. But physiologically, describe what might happen in your body.
I think I would get hot and just nervous and
Shaky maybe?
Yeah.
Short of breath? A little sweaty? Yeah? Okay. And what would happen to you if a lion walked around that corner and growled? About the same thing.
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm getting at is we have a choice on how we interpret the feelings that we're experiencing, the thoughts that we're experiencing. Is it fear or is it excitement? Which is it? You get to decide. You get to decide how you react to your feelings. You know, holy shit, $500 million. You know, or oh my God, a lion just walked. Like, it's the same feeling. Okay, your heart's beating, you're sweating, your muscles are tense. You're thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Same exact response, two completely different stimuli. You get to decide how to interpret that. And if you can control your mind and your emotions to that level, there's a whole lot more you can accomplish on a daily basis. A whole lot more. You have another gear. You have another level when you can actually look at your feelings and go, hi, I see you. Okay, yeah, All right, I acknowledge that you're there,
do that
but
with anger, though, that's the thing. You know how
you
to
can't
say
do that with anger?
No, I have a problem with, like, just seeing Ruben walk in, I'm just like, ooh. How do you control that? How do you control it?
I'll offer you.
No, when I do, because I do, you know, people say it's how you handle, or, like, if I were to get upset, if somebody said something to me and it upsets me, how I need to learn how to change how I react.
Do you want me to be able to own you?
No,
Then why would you ever give me any power to control how you feel?
I have that problem. I do. I have the problem of I mean, and it's not just anger, it's just an emotion. It's like, I need to just step back, take a deep breath before I react. I guess it's my reaction.
You know that about yourself, though.
Yes.
That's the first step in creating a pattern that you can recognize or anticipate and decide differently next time. You know, just make a decision. You know, if Ruben walks in, I'm not going to get
It's really hard right
yeah,
now.
I'm not going to get upset. Right. Pre-plan. Okay? And there's another thing that you're doing right now.
Easy to pick on you.
There's another thing you're doing right now that you don't even realize that you're doing. You're telling yourself a story. You said twice, I have a problem with my emotions. I have a problem with the way that I respond. Do you really have a problem? Or do you just tell yourself that you have a problem? So the stories that we tell ourselves the most about ourselves are the ones that we begin to believe the most about ourselves. I'm an angry person. I'm an impulsive person. I'm a generous person. You know, I'm an impatient person. You know, I'm a great husband. I'm a shitty father. You know, they're just stories. They're just thoughts that we feed ourselves. And if you're really mindful about what you tell yourself about yourself, you can actually change the way that you respond to any situation. Who are you? Do you want to be so easily triggered?
No.
Okay. Then you might talk to yourself a little bit differently. Instead of, I have a problem with.
Be more positive.
Yeah. I know that I have difficulty controlling myself in certain reactions to certain things. Therefore, I'm going to boom, 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 the following.
I hide it well, though.
Tell yourself differently.
I hide it well.
Well, it's good.
That's what I say. You
So-
want me.
How much time am I way over time? No? Okay, I'm good? All right.
I think it takes a little practice. I think you
Sure.
have to recognize it, you have to feel it, and then you, what?
Go home. Get out of here. You're right. It does take practice.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think the self-talk is really important too, because so many people talk negatively right to your face, frankly, and then you start doing it, and it's just a snowball. So,
One of the best things that I have done with my life personally, I don't do gossip. If somebody's talking about somebody else, trash talking them, I'm out. I just leave. You know, I'm not going to participate because
but
if they're.
it's fun talking about behavior, bad behavior.
It depends.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
does depend.
it depends on the context.
Yeah.
Like it really does. Anyhow, how do you overcome this? We're going to do a little exercise. Okay, everybody stand up, please. Let's get some movement going. So, if you have, this is so nobody falls asleep. So nobody falls asleep. So if anybody has any balance problems, please just put a hand out and hold on to something because I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Okay? Just close your eyes and go with me here for a second. This exercise is called 2.0. 2.0 version of you. Okay? Close your eyes for a minute and just listen. Who is the highest version of yourself? Who is that? What do they look like? How do they speak? Who are their friends? Where do you live? What do you wear every day? How do you eat? What's your relationship with your spouse or your significant other like? Does your career give you energy or does it take it from you? Imagine yourself at the pinnacle of what you can envision for your life. The way that you look, the way that you feel in your own skin, the way that others react to your presence, the way that you feel when you open your bank account balance, the way that you feel when you walk into work, the way that you feel when you're at a family gathering, the way that you feel when you're holding hands with your significant other. What kind of car do you drive? What does your home look like? What does your hair look like? How's your skin? Every single detail that you can imagine about the highest version of who you might become if you really focused your efforts on becoming that person. Imagine what that person looks like. And now, real gently, just take one step to the right, and I want you to step into that person, right or left, depending on where you're standing. Step into that person. And now, open your eyes and think about how that might feel if you were actually that person. A little different, right? So what's stopping you from becoming that person?
You.
Yeah, the way that you think. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and have a seat. Thank you for indulging me with that. So I've got some ideas as to why that's so hard today. Unless we're connected to our purpose, it's really, really hard to become and to find that person that you can imagine yourself becoming. Again, most people, they're going through life by default, not by design. They're going through the motions. They're not deciding every single aspect of their lives for themselves. And now we look to friends, we look to teachers, we look to family members, which sometimes are the worst people to take advice from because they're wired to protect you, right? They don't want you to get hurt. You know, they want to protect you. You know, I'm a father of 3 girls. I know how that feels. You know, protect. But I'm not going to ever be the guy that's going to try to protect them from their biggest, boldest, wildest, most amazing dreams for their life. All I'm going to do is carry the flag for them. You know, what can I do to support you? You know, what do you need from me? You know, I'm not going to try to put up a roadblock. Oh, you might get hurt. And, oh, come on, why are you going to do that? You know, no. It's like, okay, no problem. But if you don't have that kind of support or you haven't had that kind of support in your life, so what? You know, you got to learn how to carry that flag for yourself. And when you do, when you decide differently, you make a commitment, which is actually exactly what Ashley started talking to the group about tonight. You know, what is commitment? What's your name? I'm going to pick on you. Gary.
Yeah.
Rick. What's commitment? What does it mean as an adult to commit to something and to see it through? What must you do if you're going to say that I'm a committed man or a committed woman?
You have to pursue that. Pursue with everything that you have.
How?
By committing, by focusing on it.
Okay, perfect. I will add to that. My kids sometimes will say, I did my best. And I'll say, okay, good. And whenever an adult in my company says, oh, I did my best, my immediate response is, doing your best is for children. Are you a child? Doing whatever is required is what commitment is. It doesn't matter how you feel. It means doing it in spite of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your moods. Regardless of any of those things, doing what is required of you is commitment. Whatever is required of you. Get up at 4 a.m., I don't care. If that's what's required, that's what you do. Not spend money on stupid shit. If that's what's required, that's what you do. Not putting garbage in your mouth to lose weight or to get your blood pressure down or your A1C under control or whatever it is, that's what you do. I had a patient recently, man, 58 years old, about 110, 120 pounds overweight, you know, obese by medical standards. And he says, oh, you know, John, I really want to lose weight. I said, no, you don't. What do you mean? You don't want to lose weight. Well, yes, I do. Well, listen, you were here Monday and you told me that daily you drink a 6-pack of soda, right? Yeah. Well, then you don't want to lose weight. And he got pissed. He was like red, purple from his neck to his forehead. And I said, your actions don't match the words that are coming out of your mouth. Therefore, you do not want to lose weight, because if you did, you wouldn't drink a 6-pack of soda every day, would you? And, you know, his grown-ass man, you know, was about to cry in my exam room, you know, and I said, listen, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to point out to you that what you're telling yourself doesn't match your behavior, which means you're incongruent and you're out of alignment inside yourself. You're never going to lose weight unless you get honest with yourself. Are you ready to give up 6-pack of soda a day? Because you'll probably lose 50 pounds or more if you just did that. Nothing else. Just stop drinking soda. Just stop. And you'll lose weight like that, like unbelievably fast. I guess I'm not committed. No, you're not. And when you get committed, that decision's going to be easy because it's just a requirement. It's all you have to do. Commit. So the problems these days, I think, with commitment are we're all looking outside. We're comparing. And social media is the worst. I got 3 girls of tender age, and my 15-year-old, God, just the other day, she says to my wife, "Mom, what's Botox?" And my wife looked at her, I looked at my wife, and I said, "Why are you asking, Sydney?" And she goes, "Well, I saw this thing, and it says that it could like make your cheeks look a little less puffy." And I just looked at my wife and I said, "Oh shit, honey, I'm taking their phones," and it was all about like seeing some reel on Instagram about how Botox can give you a skinnier looking face. She's 15 and she's beautiful and she's perfectly healthy. It starts at a young age, but even as adults, we still do it. And it's a little bit sickening if you recognize it, in yourself. And you can kind of go, "Oh my God." Comparison is the thief of your joy. Like it is literally stealing your joy from you every single day. He drives a Mercedes, I drive a Toyota. So what? You both get to work? Who gives a shit? He's got a Rolex, I've got a Seiko. Who cares? Dumbass spent 25 grand on a watch. Like really, like it doesn't matter. Stop comparing, and your focus and your ability to go after what it is that you want with clarity and with certainty gets a lot easier. Like if you just let all the noise fall away, like what your cousin is doing, what your buddy is doing, and how much money your pal makes, or where they live, or the new breasts that the wife just got, or whatever, like garbage. Like people are comparing all the time. And it really, I think, is systemic today, and it takes away from a lot of the enjoyment of our lives. We don't need to do that. We just need to focus here. We need to focus on what it is that we want and the life that we want to create. And our decisions become much more clear when we decide, how do I want to live my life? Where do I want to spend my time? How do I want to feel? What do I want to worry about? What do I want to let go of? If you can get clear and answer those questions, life gets really beautiful. And it accelerates at a rate that it's remarkably surprising. You'll shock yourself if you start to do these kinds of things consciously instead of unconsciously just kind of going through the motions day to day. All right, so questions at all? I covered a lot. I didn't even get through all of it, but I'm looking at my old man over there. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how trauma affects you in your limbic system and how it stops you from getting to your rational thoughts?
Certainly. I'm not qualified, but I can take a stab at it. Trauma stores patterns deep in your brain. And unless you do a lot of work to unravel those neural pathways are easily triggered. And the way that I like to explain it very simply is this. We all have trauma of one form or another. I'll share a little bit of mine. In 2005, when the real estate was going nuts and this, that, and the other thing, I thought I was going to become a real estate magnate, and I went out and bought 3 houses in Las Vegas, and I bought the house right next to me here in South Salinas, and I bought a house in Lake Tahoe, and I was going to be a real estate guru, right? Well, a couple years later, when the bottom fell out, I lost my ass. All of those got foreclosed. That was immensely traumatic for me. I signed my name, I promised to pay, I gave my word, this is not who I am, I can't, and the banks wouldn't look at me for 8 years, 7 years. They wouldn't lend me a dime. I had to live out of the operational cash flow of my business until I was beyond that time period of those foreclosures, right? And I swore I would never do it again. I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to get crushed like that again. But when you continually reach into the past and you pull it into your present, you're stuck there. You're literally stuck there. And so
He's doing this just to mess you.
I know he is. I know he is. Believe me, I know.
He never does.
I know. I know. I know. I know. So I would say leave your past there and create new memories and create new experiences. You know, if you've had a traumatic breakup, for example, you know, and you're afraid of getting into a relationship because you don't want to experience that pain again, that it just crushed your heart in the past, you're never going to even give yourself an opportunity to grow if you don't step out of that pain, out of that painful memory. Try to create another one. Try to create a new one. Have a new experience. Anything else? John?
So, this is a test question.
Oh, God, I love
Yeah,
tests.
you love this? Okay.
Fire away.
So, how do you know what you want? And how does that connect with your 20 minutes of meditation?
How do I know what I want?
And does that connect at all with the 20 minutes you spend in meditation?
Yes. So my time is really, really important to me. And I have a sense that I don't have enough time to live on this planet to do and to impact all of the people that I want to impact through my business, through my work, et cetera, et cetera. And so for me, I need to know that I have enough time. So if I just stop for 20 minutes every day, that's a trigger for me. I have time. If I can slow down and do nothing for 20 minutes, then I can never use not having enough time as an excuse to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. So for me, I want to stay in shape, okay? I want to have a great relationship with my wife and girls. I want to stay connected to my pain in the ass old man over there as tightly as I possibly can for as long as he's alive, right? I want to be close. And I want to be able to provide for those that I love and care for. I want to be able to take care of our patients, our communities, my teammates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The things that I want, I just got really clear about. And it's small, it's just a short list. My body, being, my focus, my mental health, my relationships with those that I love, and my business. That's it. But because I have so many competing priorities with time.
How did you get clear on that? How did you get clear on what you want? Because that seems central to the whole thing.
Yeah, it is.
You've got to be clear on what you want.
You have to get very real and honest, because if you're not, I think there's just too many things that distract us constantly. Like what do they say we're marketed to, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 times a day with, you know, billboards and images and notifications on our phone and our computer and this and that. I mean, our attention is trying to be gotten all the time. And unless we control it and we demand ourselves to focus on what it is that we want, I don't think that we're ever going to be as effective in any part of our life, because we're constantly being distracted. You know, at HQ, our business office, where we manage the company from, if my office door is shut, nobody dares even knock on that door, because they know that I'm head down, focused, I'm typing, or I'm on a phone call, or I'm on a Zoom meeting, or I'm doing a training with one of our directors or something. But normally I keep the door wide open. I don't like to be isolated by myself in an office, but when the door closes, it's like, leave him alone. He's doing deep work right now. And then as soon as I'm done, I open up the door again. You know, signal to, hey, come on in, no problem. But you know how this feels. You're in the middle of like drafting a note, typing an email or something, and hey, John, you got a second? And oh shit, I just lost my thought. What do you want? You know, and then it takes you like 10 minutes to like get back and focus and like reread what you've written so far and get back in that rhythm of what it was you were trying to accomplish. And they asked you a 5-second question, but it took 10 minutes of your life. You know, so it's trying to manage distraction, really, is what got me there. Because at the point of when we were at 3 clinics, you know, I damn near had a nervous breakdown. Like wow, what am I going to do here? Because everybody needs something from me all the time. So, well, I'm going to pull myself out of the office. I'm going to centralize our operations, and I'm going to train and train and train and train and delegate and delegate and delegate and delegate. And, you know, that's kind of how I got there. And then probably the other piece for me, it's been 10 years ago, almost 11. You know, my wife and I were right on the brink of divorce. And, you know, it was really nasty and really ugly. And I realized it was because a lot of my behavior trying to build a business, I was a ghost. We had 3 kids at home, and I was gone 18 hours a day, Saturdays and Sundays too, you know, and, oh, I'm doing it for the family, you know, all that bullshit, right? And my wife was like, this is not working, Jack. And so it was like, okay, well, what do I want? Do I want to share my kids half time with some other asshole who's with my wife? No, never. You know, do I want to be a presence in their life? Yes. How do I do that? How do I stay fit? Instead of going to the gym after work on the way home and never being home for dinner, I get up at 4:30 every morning and I go before work so that I can be home for dinner to have time around the dinner table with the family. So it was all of the pulling and competing and twisting of my soul really that got me to say, fuck, excuse me, you know, what do I want and how do I do this shit so that I can have it all, so to speak, and not go nuts and still cover the things that I want that are important to me in my life. And they're different for everybody. I would never say that, you know, that's what should be important for anybody else, but that's just what's important to me, you know, and that's why getting clear is so important. Like, what's important to you? Like, what is your highest priority at work, for your health, for your family, you know? Are you always stressed about money? Why? Do you spend too much or do you not make enough? And if it's not make enough, how do you create more value in the marketplace so that you can earn more? Like, these are the kinds of questions that people just don't think about, and they're running around like, you know, like they're in a scramble mix, you know, trying to play whack-a-mole every day with their whole life instead of going, you know what? I don't care how many of those little dudes pop up out of that thing. I'm not going to try to kill myself to whack-a-mole. I'm just going to decide, nope, I'm just going to whack that one. You know, like every time that one comes up, boom, I'm going to whack the shit out of that guy. Yeah. So you get clear and you get specific about what you want and the game that you want to play. Because I think, you know, with distraction, with competing priorities, with raising a family, with running a business, with trying to stay healthy, it's a lot. And unless you get really clear about what you want, you never can get there. You just don't. You're just sort of floating aimlessly, in my opinion. And I've found a lot of strength, a lot of energy, a lot of power, a lot of focus in just paring it down to those 4 things for me. And everything else doesn't make it on my schedule.
Where do you go at 4:30 to work out?
Shamasal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's open at 5, but Rudy, the janitor fellow who
I knew there was
opens the club, he's there early. He's there super duper early.
Yeah.
But I understand this gym that's about to open here on Main Street is going to be a 24-hour place, Planet Fitness or something like that.
Okay.
It's a giant space that they're going to open here. Mm-hmm.
So if you're just starting, so you're at the top of your priority list right now, it says everything, right? How many in your opinion, your experience, how many things do you think you can actually focus on? No more than.
So every day I have what I call my non-negotiables. Non-negotiables. So today was sign a paperwork for the new credit card machines that are seamlessly integrated with our new EHR system. So we have to get rid of our old credit card processing machines. We have to sign a new contract with a new company because credit card payments are going to be seamlessly integrated with our EHR system, blah, 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 blah. That was one of my non-negotiables. I had to read that contract and sign it today. My other non-negotiable today, because our Tuesday, Thursday helper nanny person canceled on us last minute last night, 11 p.m., got the text, was figure out how to get, you know, our youngest and our middle daughters picked up from school today, our youngest to soccer practice, our middle daughter to tutoring. Thank God my mother was able to pick up Sydney, get her to tutoring, get her home. I was able to run to Carmel Valley, get our youngest, get her off to her soccer coach's house, who's going to take her to practice tonight, and drop her off after practice. She's got her own house key. She'll be fine. Our oldest is at her soccer game, and that's my other non-negotiable. I want to catch some of her soccer game tonight, you know, at Everett Alvarez. And so those are the 3 things today that I had to do to move my whole life in the direction that I wanted it to go. Not, you know, I still got to the gym this morning, and that was fine. That's always on the roster, yeah. So I think that for work, because we're all professionals, 3 things a day, like that you must do, you know, and every non-negotiable has an NRA, a necessary required action. What is that thing? You know, what must I do to get that box checked? You know, and if it's, I need 20 minutes alone, no distractions in my office, then that's what I have to create for myself to get that thing checked off. If it's, I need to have a phone call with so-and-so, then I need to block time in my schedule to have that phone call with so-and-so. If it's something to do, it's a doctor's appointment. Let's say it's a doctor's appointment. Like, I need some time ahead of my appointment to get there early to fill out some paperwork, and I need to probably leave at least 1 or 2 appointments empty after my scheduled doctor's appointment time, because doctor's never on time, no offense. You're always waiting too long, and sometimes your appointment runs over, and sometimes, so blocking time ahead of your appointment and after your appointment at work so that you can actually get to your appointment and have a good appointment and get back to work without scrambling and feeling absolutely crushed to get back to work, or worse, show up late and miss one of your client appointments. So thinking through all of these steps, constantly designing your life so that it works. 3 things a day, 3 non-negotiables a day. I think that is a really good level for any human. Well, if you include that, but I'm talking about work. Three work non-negotiables a day. Thanks, good one. Anything else?
I got a
This
quick
is
question,
fun.
John.
Brian.
So we all, I'm sorry, but you were saying to Anna, do they own you? Why would they control you like that, right? Why would you
give them your power?
Pardon me?
Why would you give away
Why
your
would you
power
give
like
them
that?
power? So what do we weaponize? Guilt and shame, right? We all use that. We're all susceptible to it. How do you put up the armor to not let guilt and shame affect you? What's the trick?
Cool.
What's the trick?
And it's another question you ask yourself. How is guilt going to serve you? How's it going to serve you? If you feel
Yeah,
guilt...
it's not going to serve me.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna
why...
serve you or whoever's trying to make me feel guilty.
I would never try to make another human being
Not
feel
you,
guilty.
but
So
in
are you
general.
asking how do I react when someone's trying to make me feel guilty about something?
Whatever, yeah.
About
Yeah. Or shame you, or embarrass you, because those are our strategies as people.
To encroach on the priorities that you've set for yourself.
Okay, perfect. No is a complete sentence, and I've gotten really good at saying no to just about everything, and after a while, people just realize, like, unless it's really, really important, don't even bother asking them, because the answer is going to be no, and that really helps me protect my time. Like, so today, my dad asked me if I could meet him for lunch over at Calibri with my brother, Robert. And my only other competing priority, because you can't have 2 competing priorities, right? Otherwise, you can't meet either one of them. If you have an appointment scheduled at 11 and another appointment scheduled at 11, how do you do that? You can't. I had a Zoom call with a private equity company scheduled, and I just texted the guy and I said, hey, I'm just back from Thailand. I'm really jet lagged. I don't think today's the best day for this call. Can we push it back to later in the week? Sure, absolutely no problem. Totally understand. I know what that feels like. How's Friday? Mine's wide open. Sure, Friday, rescheduled it. It wasn't because I was jet lagged and didn't have the energy to meet with him. It's because I wanted to have lunch with my dad.
Free lunch.
Yeah, that too. And here's one way to think about it. So people often feel guilty, I think, saying no. They feel guilty saying no. When you say no, all you're doing is you're saying yes to something else. You don't need to offer the person you're saying no to an explanation. You just allowed yourself to the opportunity to say yes to something else because you said no to this thing. It doesn't mean that you don't like the person, don't respect the person, and that you want the person to make you feel guilty for saying no. It's just
And
that
you yourself make yourself feel guilty. It's not that the person is making you feel guilty. You do that yourself.
because you care about what other people think. Can you control what I think? Okay, so why would you give it an ounce of your energy, your focus, your time?
Right.
You can never control what I think. And if you think you can, good luck to you.
Yeah, no, I think one
You know? Yeah. It's impossible. Like, I'm trying to coach this into my girls right now because they're in that terrible teen pressure cooker, right now of like, oh my God, they get up an hour early just so they can like do their hair, and I'm just like, oh, you poor things, my God, and I'm just dying inside because they care so much about what their peer group thinks about their appearance, and it's just this thing, right? So I'm constantly trying to model that. Like, it doesn't matter what people think. If you can't control it, forget it. Like, why would you give your time, your focus, your energy to something that you have no control over whatsoever? Why? It's just a definition of insanity. Like, you're going to drive yourself bonkers, worrying about what this person thinks because you told them no. Who gives a shit? They're not living your life. You're living your life.
But it does get easier, right?
Language.
So,
You
it
should.
does get easier.
Oh, you wanna clap now?
He's just like, get him out of here. So I think,
Mother, though, 'cause he didn't learn anything.
I think, I don't know that, that I ever feel guilty about putting myself first. And the reason that I say that, I'll share something very deeply personal right now. My wife has lung cancer. And we're a little bit better than a year into it. We've done surgery, we've done chemo, we've done radiation, and we go up to Stanford every 3 months to have a PET CT scan done, and make sure that it's not coming back, make sure that the tumors are the same size, and blah 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 blah. I don't talk a lot to people about, like, when I'm going up to those appointments. I just have a block in my calendar, like on the software at the clinic. It's just this big block, and I usually take the whole day because to drive up, I want to be with her. We don't know how long we're going to be there, and there's a lot of emotion on the back end of those appointments and things like that. I don't offer an explanation. Like, I'm just gone, and if somebody needs me that day and they can't get a hold of me, or I don't answer my phone or return my texts, I don't feel bad about it, at all. So I think guilt is something that maybe we allow, and it's not something that, I know nobody in this room would ever try to guilt somebody into behaving a certain way. I don't think that we're that kind of people. But I think we allow guilt in ourselves because of the stories we tell ourselves. And it's because we think and care deeply so much about what this other person might think or might assume about us. And if you can let that go, because you really ultimately have no control whatsoever about how other people think, and you never will, I mean, as a parent, like, you kind of hope that, your values, you instill into your children, you model behavior better than you can speak behavior. I think my kids will always do the things that I do more than they'll do the things that I tell them to do. So like, your behavior matters more than whatever comes out of your mouth. Yeah, you model it. But I think guilt is something that people allow, and it comes from worrying about what others might think. But if you can understand that you have zero control over what other people think, so why would you ever feel guilty about any of your decision?
It's hard to think, I don't really care what anyone
It's just a
thinks.
decision. Because if you know who you are, unless you're a complete bastard and you're going out of your way to intentionally hurt people and take advantage of people and
then you probably don't care anyway.
Right. But those people ought to feel guilty because it's a barometer. It's like, yo, your behavior is not so good and you need to probably think about changing it. But those of us who know who we are, and we know that we're here to help people and serve people, like you, like me, like John, like, we care about our patients deeply. We care about their well-being. I'm a sheepdog. Like, I love to protect people. I love to care for people. I want to see our patients do well. I want to see them thrive. That's why I can talk to them very directly, like the guy who said he wanted to lose weight, and I said, no, you don't. I was loving on him. I wasn't being an asshole. I was just telling him the truth so that he could actually realize for himself, oh my God, I got to change my behavior. Yeah, you do. It's because I care about him, not because I'm trying to bust on the guy, So I think it's get to intention maybe. And if your intention is good, you never have to feel guilty, ever. It's your intent. Like, if your intent in saying no is because you have a competing commitment, or your intent is because you wanted to spend time with your grandchildren or with your daughter or with your son, or you had a lunch date with your hubby or whatever it is, why would you ever feel guilty about saying no to somebody, Or if your intent was just to have a little bit of alone time so you could read your favorite book, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I think we've kind of gotten bullied into this idea, particularly with our devices, that we're supposed to be available all the time and we better respond right now. That's crap. Like,
There's
that's...
some people that demand that. I mean, I've been astonished when a friend would say, I couldn't reach you for 4 hours. What's urgent? There's nothing urgent. Or someone who you say, they invite you out to lunch and you say, well, I can't, I've got something else, well, what do you have? And it's like, well, now I have limits, you know, so.
That's why I said earlier, no is a complete sentence.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
mm-mm. And I think it sometimes it drives my team nuts when they'll ask a question, I'll just say no. And they're staring at me like there's going to be more. Like, that's all. Anything else?
Conversation as opposed to just a refusal.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes an explanation is necessary, and if you want to offer one, that's fine. But why do you feel like one's necessary? You're an adult. You're a sovereign adult human being who's living her own life. Why on earth do you feel the need to explain yourself to anybody?
Well, that's true, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, good. Then the friend that says, well, why not? What do you have?
It just made me laugh.
Just
I'm
smile.
Like, how desperate are you? What do you
Right.
want?
Just feel bad for them. You know, love on them or offer to reschedule.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other thing I think I might offer is, and this is going to be really hard to hear for some people, I think, but I don't have a lot of friends. And that's by design. I got a handful of great friends, like my brain trust. These guys have my heart. You know, we meet every 2 weeks for breakfast, you know, and that's the time that we spend. And we meet at 6:30 in the morning. And we lay it all out there, you know, the group of us. But friendships, if they don't share your values, if they don't respect your time, if they don't understand that no means no, and if they're constantly, you know, poking in, butting in, trying to invade your calendar, you know, trying to make you feel guilty about saying no, cut them out of your life. Just drop them. Like, why would you keep them around?
Right.
Like, I do not spend time with people that are negative, you know, or the trash talker, shit talker kind of folks. Get out of my life. You're sucking the energy out of me, and I need my energy. It's the most important thing I've got. You know, get out of my life and get out of my way. You know, and if it's somebody that's, you know, so we all have a past, right? And we all have, you know, demons, and we all have, you know, broken relationships and jobs that didn't go so well, and foreclosures that, you know, crushed us financially for a good number of years. You get to decide right now how you're going to finish. You can't do anything about how you started and what's back there in the rearview mirror, but how do you want to move on from here is a conscious decision. And once it's made and once you commit to doing what's required, you can finish however the heck you want. You know, it may not look the way that you thought it was going to look when you started way back there, but so what? Way back there is gone. It's in the past. Now you're here, and now you want to get to there. So decide differently and move forward.
All right, with that.
Thanks, Ashley. Close me down. Thanks.
Thank you. Great to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.